Okay, so for my music speech, I chose the song "The Fighter" by Gym Class Heroes. And I listened to the song a couple of times, and it actually, I hadn't realized what it was actually like about, like what he was doing. But he's actually a boxer who fights through the adversity that he faces, and he kind of talks about why people fight and why people work hard. And he says he does it for the people, specifically the kids that face the same or different diversity that he does, or that he did. So the meaning of this song to me is that despite whatever you might face or whatever you know might hold you back in life, you can always push through those things, for you, or find another person, find some sort of motivation to keep you going. And you do it for people that don't necessarily have the same ability or opportunity to do those things. So I'm very drawn to this song, and it presents a very powerful message to me, because I'm always kind of trying to find motivation, something new to keep me going or give me a different perspective. So it captures a lot of how I try to hold myself to working hard and looking for a bigger picture than just what I'm doing, and look at the whole, like, if I work hard now, it's going to benefit me later on in life, and that sort of way. And another thing to think about is other people really don't have the same abilities or struggles or things as you do, and your life is probably a lot better than what you think it is, especially when you compare it to some other people. So as I listen to this song, I always seem to think about running, and running is a large passion of mine, and as hard as it is for me to believe myself sometimes, I actually enjoy doing it. So the problem with it is that pain especially goes with it, and just trying to motivate yourself every day to get out and compete and do your best. It isn't easy. So as you listen to the song "The Fighter," the singer actually challenges the world to give him scars and give him pain, and I think that's kind of cool, just because it helps me remember that pain is temporary. It's a temporary experience in life, and it's not going to hold you back in the future. If you decide to give in to pain and to give up, then that does impact. You don't feel the pain anymore, but you still have that kind of mental notion of, oh, I let the pain consume me, I let it control me, and I really like overcoming things like that. So I hear these lyrics and I think to myself, sure, maybe what I'm doing hurts right now, or maybe writing this speech is really hard, and I think to myself, if you get past this, if you overcome this, so when I feel better, when I get done, when I feel like I've accomplished something bigger than if I gave up, and you can easily switch the word pain with effort or anything else that applies to a situation you're in where you might feel like giving up or quitting, or something like that. And the fighter just gives me the impression that everything I do is worth doing, so I better give everything that I have and give my full effort at everything I might attempt to do in life. So a specific example of how I use the song involves my Aunt Sharon. The reason why I do this is because she isn't actually my aunt, but I've known her basically since I was like a year old or younger. And I've spent pretty much my entire early childhood at her house, and she babysat my sister and I, and she was kind of like a little, like a mentor, basically. So you see, Sharon has always been an extremely independent person. I mean, she, especially when she babysat me, she was in her late 60s and early 70s, and she does everything herself. She, obviously, you'd never catch her going out and ordering takeout or whatever. She always wanted to provide the best for everything she did. She, everything was homemade, that sort of thing. So she was a really empowering woman, and she kind of helped me get to where I am today. And to put a long story short, just about 4 or 5 years ago when I was in 5th grade, I think. She had like a massive stroke, and she didn't realize what it was at first, so they were kind of late at diagnosing it. But basically, what happened was it paralyzed her the whole left side of her body, and she can move her face and everything, but she can't use her left arm or leg, and it pretty much, I mean, changed her entire life. I mean, she could no longer, she doesn't even live at home anymore because her husband, because he's in his lower 80s, he can't take care of her. It's just too much for him. So she lives in the annex up at the hospital, and you know, her husband still goes and visits her every day. But I can kind of tell it turned her life upside down, and it was just really hard to see her go through that. And it was kind of cool to see at the same time how she kind of kept her same personality and kind of, you know, nothing's gonna stop me from doing what I want to do. But so I kind of think about her, you know, when I'm running and when I'm doing things, and if I think about quitting, sometimes I try and think about her and people like her and what Sharon wouldn't give just to be able to walk on her own or get up and do a daily activity, cook her own meal. I mean, I know she absolutely hates this stuff up at the hospital, which I know she could do way better than, taste better anyways than what they have. So, and I think to myself, how selfish am I that I can't give myself to a greater cause, or to my team, or to my teachers, peers, or whatever, for just another 10, 20, 30 minutes, however long. And I kind of think to myself, how many other people wouldn't give just to be able to have some of the accomplishments that I have? And I just think to myself, yeah, of course I can push through this. This is just another day-to-day thing, and I try to anyways. So just thinking about Sharon and everyone that I know that has support for me and cares about me, it kind of just helps me keep going. So that's probably why I have such a strong connection for this song. It always seems to bring out a better side of me and to think a little bit deeper.